Persistence, it is not merely a word, it is the very pulse of existence. Every moment you breathe, you are persisting, a subtle, continuous dance with life itself. But what is persistence truly? It is not about mindless stubbornness, nor is it a blind chase after goals. Persistence is a profound intelligence, the wisdom to remain steady when the world shakes around you. Look closely. The universe does not favor the fastest or the strongest, it favors those who endure, those who remain through every storm, through every doubt and This endurance is not born from some sudden act of will, it is nurtured in the quiet spaces of patience where your mind resists its urge to quit and learns to hold on. Life will test you endlessly, sometimes gently, sometimes mercilessly. It is not the absence of pain or struggle that makes one persistent. It is the refusal to be defeated by them. You may fall, you may lose, but to persist is to rise every time, to rise without complaint or regret, to rise with a smile that knows this too shall. Persistence is a sacred discipline. It teaches you the art of time, that transformation does not happen in a moment, but in the slow, steady unfolding of countless moments. When you cultivate persistence, you cultivate patience. And in patience lies the power to see beyond immediate failures into the vast possibilities ahead. Understand this deeply. Persistence is not a battle against life. It is a harmonious rhythm with life's flow, a conscious decision to keep moving, keep growing no matter what. When you persist, you become the unshakable presence that no circumstance can uproot. So, do not seek to be swift or perfect. Seek to be steady, to be persistent. And in that persistence, discover the profound freedom that only comes when you stop running away from life's challenges and instead stand firm, rooted in your purpose. Persistence is the very foundation upon which transformation stands, because without it, change remains a distant dream rather than a living reality. When you plant a seed, you do not expect a tree overnight, yet you water it, nourish it, and protect it every day, even when there is no immediate sign of growth. This daily commitment is persistence, the invisible force that turns the seed into a mighty tree. And in the same way, every transformation within us demands this steady unfolding. It is not the sudden burst of effort, but the quiet consistency that shapes the new, shaping who we are becoming. Transformation is often misunderstood as a dramatic event, a sudden leap into a new state, but in truth, it is the gentle but unyielding persistence that carries us through the phases of resistance and discomfort. When the mind resists change, it speaks loudly with excuses and doubts. Yet persistence is the silent companion that sits with this resistance without giving up. It listens, understands, and moves forward despite the inner chaos, knowing that real change is never painless but always necessary. In this way, persistence becomes the steady rhythm beneath the unpredictable melody of life. When you persist, you teach your mind a new language, a language that does not surrender at the first sign of difficulty, but learns to endure, to adapt, and to grow stronger. The mind naturally wants ease and comfort, and when faced with obstacles, it urges retreat or abandonment. Yet persistence is the inner strength that does not allow this retreat, that gently pushes the mind to stretch beyond its limits without breaking. And in that process, transformation begins to take root. It is through this patient training of the mind that transformation moves from possibility to reality. Transformation demands time, for nothing that is worthwhile happens quickly, and persistence is the bridge across time that connects intention with outcome. It is not about rushing or forcing the process, but about being present with each moment, with every small effort made without the need for immediate reward or recognition. This willingness to remain engaged even when the fruits of labor are invisible is what makes persistence sacred, because it honors the natural unfolding of change that cannot be hurried. In this sacred space of time, transformation slowly but surely blossoms. Obstacles are not enemies to persistence, but teachers that refine it. For every challenge faced and every hardship endured strengthens the resolve to continue. When life tests your endurance, persistence responds not with resistance but with grace, bending but not breaking. Like a tree that sways in the storm yet holds firm with deep roots. Each time life tests your endurance, it invites you to know yourself more deeply, not just your strengths but also your vulnerabilities. For it is in the acknowledgement of your weaknesses that you find the real power to keep going. Endurance is not about denying pain or struggle but embracing them as part of the journey. Recognizing that every moment of hardship carries within it the seeds of growth and transformation, and the willingness to endure is the commitment to walk through those moments rather than around them. Endurance is cultivated over time through countless small acts of choosing to move forward, even when the path seems endless and the destination unclear. And this continuous effort shapes a resilience that does not depend on external rewards, but on an inner certainty that life's tests are not punishments but opportunities for expansion. When you understand this, endurance becomes less about resistance and more about harmony. A dance with life's challenges where you flow with the difficulties instead of fighting against them, creating a strength that is flexible yet unbreakable. Life's repeated tests of endurance can often feel like a relentless storm, battering the mind and body with waves of doubt, fear and exhaustion, yet it is in weathering these storms that you develop the capacity to remain calm and composed, anchored in a deeper awareness that no storm lasts forever, and that beyond the chaos lies a clarity born of persistence. This endurance teaches patience, not the impatience that demands immediate relief, but a patient trust in the unfolding process of life itself, allowing time to work its mysterious alchemy on the challenges you face. When life tests your endurance repeatedly, it also teaches humility and surrender, reminding you that there are forces beyond your control and that true strength often comes from knowing when to hold on and when to let go on. This balance between effort and surrender, persistence and acceptance forms the essence of endurance, creating a resilience that is not rigid but alive, responsive to the rhythms of life while remaining rooted in unwavering commitment to growth and transformation. Ultimately, life's continual testing of endurance is a call to awaken a deeper strength within yourself, a strength that is not defined by how many times you fall, but by how many times you rise, and by answering this call with courage and grace, and you become a living testament to the power of endurance, transforming every trial into a stepping stone toward a fuller, richer experience of life and self-realization. The mind is naturally inclined toward ease and comfort, always searching for the quickest way out when faced with difficulty, because its nature is to avoid pain, discomfort and uncertainty. Yet this very tendency leads it toward giving up when the journey becomes challenging or the goal seems distant and unattainable, which is why persistence is so essential. It is the teacher that trains the mind to stay beyond its usual limits, to endure even when the temptation to quit is overwhelming and the path ahead appears harsh and unforgiving. When persistence steps in, it does not fight the mind's desire to give up but acknowledges it, gently holding space for those feelings of exhaustion and doubt while refusing to let them dictate the course of action. And in this delicate balance between acceptance and determination, the mind begins to learn a new way of being, a way that embraces endurance not as a burden but as a sacred discipline that cultivates strength over time. Much like how muscles grow stronger through repeated exercise despite initial soreness and fatigue, the process of persistence teaching the mind to endure is slow and subtle, often invisible in the moment. Yet its effects accumulate quietly until a transformation takes place within the core of your being, shifting the mind's habitual patterns from avoidance to engagement, from fear to courage, from despair to hope, because endurance is not the absence of struggle but the presence of unwavering commitment that stays grounded amidst all fluctuations, allowing the mind to navigate storms with calmness rather than panic. When the mind is trained in persistence, it begins to understand that giving up is simply a passing thought, not an absolute truth, and that every challenge faced is an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. So persistence becomes a constant reminder that the journey is not about never feeling tired or defeated, but about choosing to rise again and again with renewed intention and clarity, building a foundation of mental fortitude that can withstand the unpredictable tides of life. In this dance between the mind's natural inclination to surrender and the call of persistence to endure, profound intelligence unfolds, teaching you that endurance is not about stubbornness or rigid willpower, but about a flexible steadiness that adapts without losing direction. And this wisdom allows the mind to flow with difficulties while remaining rooted in its purpose, transforming obstacles into stepping stones rather than dead ends. Persistence also reshapes how the mind perceives failure, shifting its view from something to fear and avoid to something to learn from and embrace as a necessary part of growth. Because when the mind knows that giving up is never the only option, it begins to explore new possibilities and strategies, discovering resilience within itself that was previously hidden beneath layers of doubt and insecurity. And through this exploration, endurance becomes a source of inner freedom rather than limitation. The more the mind is exposed to the practice of persistence, the more it rewires itself to see challenges not as reasons to quit, but as invitations to deepen its strength and capacity for endurance. So persistence becomes a guide that leads the mind beyond its habitual patterns of fear and avoidance into a place of courage and patience, where it learns to hold steady even when the outcome is uncertain and the journey arduous, creating a foundation for lasting transformation. Therefore, persistence is the teacher that reveals to the mind its true nature, not as a fragile being prone to giving up, but as a powerful force capable of enduring beyond all odds. And as the mind learns this lesson deeply, it becomes an unshakable presence that continues to move forward with unwavering faith and quiet strength, turning every moment of doubt into an opportunity to endure and every challenge into a step toward greater wisdom and growth. In the journey toward any goal or transformation, it is often the small steady steps that create the most lasting impact, because while sudden bursts of energy may bring quick excitement and temporary progress, they rarely sustain the momentum necessary for true change to take root. And it is in the patient repetition of simple actions, day after day, that the foundation of success is built, much like a river carves a canyon not by rushing all at once but by the persistent flow of water over time. When you begin with small steps, you honor the natural rhythm of growth, allowing your body, mind and spirit to adjust gradually, which prevents burnout and discouragement that often come with trying to force rapid transformation, and these steady movements accumulate unseen, weaving together a fabric of discipline and resilience that carries you forward. Even when the initial excitement fades and challenges arise along the way, sudden bursts of energy may ignite a spark, but they can also exhaust the fuel quickly, leaving you stranded in moments of difficulty, whereas small, consistent efforts build reserves of strength and confidence, teaching the mind and body to endure and adapt, making the path smoother and more navigable with each step taken, and this steady approach aligns with the natural laws of growth and healing, which never happen in leaps but in increments. Each small step is an opportunity to learn, to correct course and to deepen your commitment, and this continuous adjustment prevents stagnation and frustration, keeping the journey alive with intention and mindfulness. Because transformation is not a destination but a process, and the quality of your steps determines the quality of the journey itself, allowing you to move forward without losing balance or direction. It is through these small, steady steps that patience is cultivated, a patience that understands that lasting change cannot be rushed and that the seeds of greatness are nurtured in quiet, persistent effort rather than dramatic gestures. And as you build this habit of consistency, you begin to trust the process, knowing that each moment of effort, no matter how small, contributes to the unfolding of your potential. The beauty of small steps is that they are accessible, requiring only your presence and willingness in the here and now, removing the overwhelming pressure of achieving everything at once. And this simplicity becomes a source of freedom rather than burden, right? Empowering you to begin again whenever necessary without judgment or despair, because every step forward, no matter how tiny, is progress toward your goal. In the face of challenges, these small steps become anchors, steady points of action that keep you grounded and moving even when the path ahead is unclear or difficult. And this steady movement fosters resilience, for it is in continued effort that resistance weakens and obstacles transform from barriers into lessons. And with each step, you build endurance to face whatever comes next with calmness and strength. Ultimately, small, steady steps matter more than sudden bursts of energy, because they create a sustainable flow that nurtures growth, endurance and transformation, weaving together moments of effort into a tapestry of progress that no rush or impatience can replace. And by embracing this path, you align yourself with the natural rhythms of life, where slow and steady is not just a strategy, but the essence of lasting success and fulfillment. True persistence is often mistaken for stubbornness, but in reality, it is a far more subtle and profound quality. A deep intelligence that knows when to hold on tightly and when to loosen the grip. Understanding that persistence is not about blindly pushing against every obstacle, but about moving in harmony with the natural flow of life, sensing the right moments to act and the right moments to wait, cultivating resilience rather than resistance. Stubbornness demands rigid adherence to one way of thinking or acting, regardless of the circumstances, while true persistence listens carefully to the signals life sends, adapting its approach without losing sight of the goal. And this ability to adjust with awareness is what makes persistence intelligent, as it balances patience with determination, knowing that timing can often be the difference between success and failure. Persistence guided by intelligence recognizes that resilience is not about force but about endurance, the capacity to absorb difficulties without breaking and to bounce back even when circumstances are harsh. And this resilience is built through an understanding that setbacks are not punishments but lessons, opportunities to refine one's approach and deepen one's strength, making persistence a dynamic process rather than a static battle. When you persist with this kind of intelligence, you move beyond the narrow view of success as immediate and visible and embrace a broader vision that includes waiting, listening and evolving, because timing is a subtle art that cannot be rushed, and resilience grows when you allow yourself to flow with the rhythms of life rather than resist them, creating a persistence that is flexible and wise instead of stubborn and harsh. This deep intelligence behind true persistence also knows the value of rest and reflection, understanding that sometimes stepping back is necessary to gather strength and clarity, and that endurance does not mean endless struggle, but a strategic engagement with challenges that preserves energy and spirit, making persistence sustainable over the long journey toward transformation. True persistence is a conversation between your inner will and the outer world, a continuous dialogue that requires sensitivity and discernment, where resilience acts as a steady foundation and timing as the guiding, leading you through difficulties with grace and insight rather than brute force, and in this way, persistence becomes an expression of wisdom rather than mere willpower. By embodying this understanding, persistence transforms from a source of frustration and conflict into a source of peace and progress, because it aligns your actions with the natural unfolding of events, allowing you to move steadily even when the path is uncertain, confident that your efforts, when timed with intelligence and supported by resilience, will bear fruit in their own season. Ultimately, true persistence is not about forcing the world to bend to your desires, but about becoming attuned to the dance of life, cultivating a deep intelligence that knows when to push forward and when to wait patiently, and in doing so, you embody a resilience that is not brittle but enduring, making persistence the quiet but powerful force that guides you toward lasting growth and transformation